Good evening. Hello, band members. By now you've begun your incredible tour to the great Northwest. I envy you the sights you will see, but not the time that you spend on the bus. I have been asked again to tell you some stories, and they're going to be really lame, and I hope that you laugh a little and don't dread my face every time you turn on this tape. I invite you to enjoy the roaring fire, and I shall be sipping on some cranberry juice from time to time. Ah, excellent cranberry juice. I'd like to begin today's stories with the overarching theme of being a pastor's kid. And what you've heard about pastor's kids is basically all true, as my brothers and I will show you. The first set of stories is really a small montage called Kill Brad, number 1. Wally, my older brother, and I were put into separate rooms when the third child came along, Brad. He was put into the crib in Wally's room, and I was not happy about that because it meant I had to sleep on a landing, which was just not cool. And so one day I went in and Brad was in the crib and he was starting to fuss and cry. And I decided that what he really needed was some baby powder. So I took the big size Johnson & Johnson baby powder, opened the holes full up and just started pouring it on the little sucker. And all of a sudden this haze, I mean if you've ever taken baby powder, just whacked it all over the place, it is unbelievable. It creates a cloud to behold. And pretty soon I couldn't even see my little brother, and I thought it kind of looked cool, so I just kept pouring the baby powder. And all of a sudden he quit crying, and I thought I was doing the right thing, and he quit crying, and I just keep putting more baby powder all over the place, and I hear this. And of course my mother, who's probably down in the basement, you know, with the ears of a sonar, a dolphin comes running up the stairs, and Brad's choking and breathing in all this baby powder. And there's this, I'm covered with it because it's just floating all over the room. And she says, "What are you doing?" And I said, "I'm just trying to help. I'm just trying to help." At least that's what I thought I was doing. The second thing that I remember is not too long after Brad began to walk, my parents were both smokers, and they would unfortunately leave the ashtrays around the house. And this was before everybody knew that smoking was really bad for you. And one day my mom came home and from the outside, and the cigarettes were gone out of this ashtray. And I had picked them out and put them down in the grates where the furnace was, because I thought, well, that's where they belong, because they were gross, and I thought, well, I'm just going to put them down the holes and see what happens. And Brad was walking around by that time, and he had some dirt on his mouth. And my mother thought he had eaten them because he was at that stage where he was just eating everything, and she was worried he was going to get nicotine poisoning. So she grabbed me and she said, "What happened to these cigarette butts?" And I said, "Brad ate them." She said, He did, and she shook me. She goes, "Did he eat these?" And I said, "Yeah, he ate them," because I didn't want to get in trouble. So she grabs poor Brad, who has no clue what's going on, and she says, "Did you eat these?" And Brad's 1.5. He doesn't know what to say, and he's just kind of looking at her. And I said, "Mom, he did. He ate them." I didn't think she was going to do anything. So without my knowing it, she takes the poor kid, turns him upside down, sticks her finger down his throat to make him gag it out. And she's just making him gag, and he's going like that. And then finally, you know, nothing's coming out. She goes, "Did he eat these?" And I go, I don't think so. I got into a lot of trouble that day, and Brad managed to survive. The third montage is one that I may have told you already, and I won't belabor it, but of course it's when we let Brad slide down the stairs and Wally closed the door at the bottom and basically concussed him for life. And then I would have to say the fourth time that we tried to rid ourselves of the youngest sibling was something called monkey shines. And this was when Brad was about 4 or 5, and Wally would lie on his back on the bed and say, "Brad, let me raise you up on my feet," kind of like an airplane. And they did that for a while, and it wasn't achieving Wally's goal, which was to injure Brad so he could laugh at the sound and the tears. He just thought that stuff was hysterical. So he said, "Let's try it the other way. You hold on to my feet with your hands, Brad, and I'll hold on to your feet, and I'll just try to rock you off the bed, and you've got to hold on." Well, you've got to remember my older brother was the size of a fire plug, and my little brother was the ultimate 97-pound weakling, And so they start doing this. My parents are in the other room playing bridge with some guests. And all of a sudden, Brad lets go and hits his teeth on the bottom part of the bed rail and just shoves them completely up into his gums. So his teeth are gone. And there, of course, is blood everywhere, and he's screaming, and Wally's trying to figure out how he's going to get out of it. I dashed out, went to my bedroom. I wasn't going to have anything to do with it. And of course, we got into trouble, but Brad survived that one. The last one, I thought that was the last one that brought to mind one other one called Jimmy's Bicycle. Wally always had names for these things. Really what it meant was ways to hurt you. Jimmy's Bicycle was Wally would lay on his bed, on his back, put his feet straight up in the air, and Brad was supposed to sit on top of Wally's feet, hold on to them with his hands, and pretend like he was riding a bicycle as fast as he could while Wally was trying to throw him off. I think 2 or 3 times of falling off of that height down onto the floor taught Brad that that wasn't a good idea. And so those were some of the times that we tried to get rid of our third sibling, because life had been good for the 2 of us, and adding a third one just made it a little bit more difficult. But he managed to survive, and payback has been pretty good. So this is day 1, and I have no idea where you are on your trip, but tomorrow I shall visit you again. And I'm going to also at the end of each story give you not well-known facts about Mr. Kuhn. The first not well-known fact about Mr. Kuhn is that he is a chip-aholic. He can eat an entire bag of potato chips in one sitting. Sit there with the bag, stick his hand in them, and just eat them. And he crunches his chips. He doesn't eat the whole chip. I put a whole chip in my mouth. He goes like that. So if you ever get the opportunity to watch Mr. Kuhn eat a bag of chips, you'll see that he can down that bag of chips pretty quickly, and he has a certain style of crunching that my son has also inherited. Love you, honey. We'll see you tomorrow for day 2.